So this is the second half of the circulatory system, and we're going to talk about the actual system itself and what happens. So the circulatory system includes the heart and the blood vessels that circulate through the body. Pulmonary circuit carries the blood between the heart and the lungs, and systemic circuit carries the blood between the heart and the rest of the body. Okay, so let's talk about the heart. The heart is a muscular organ that serves as a double pump for blood. The right side pumps blood through the pulmonary circuit, and the left side pumps blood through the systemic circuit. So we see here the heart, a breakdown of all the different parts: right atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle, superior and inferior vena cava, aorta, pulmonary trunk, left pulmonary artery, right pulmonary artery, right pulmonary veins, left pulmonary veins, coronary artery. Okay, so let's go over what happens in the heart. Here's another diagram of the heart with everything labeled on it. All right, so you will have to memorize the different parts of the heart, and I will go over how blood flows, and we'll create a chart of the correct order of blood flowing through the heart, but that is something you will definitely need to know for your test. So the heart has 4 valves that allow blood to move forward while preventing backflow. So you have the tricuspid valve between the right atrium and right ventricle. You'll need to know that. The mitral valve between the left atrium and left ventricle. Aortic valve between the aorta and left ventricle, and pulmonary valve between the right ventricle and pulmonary trunk. So coronary arteries supply the heart muscle with oxygen. Deoxygenated blood from the heart muscle is collected at the coronary sinus in the right atrium. The pacemaker, the anatomical pacemaker, the cardiac muscle cells are able to contract in a regular pattern without any input from the brain. The sinoatrial node, or the SA node, originates the electrical impulse, which travels across the atria. The atrioventricular node then receives the signal and passes it through the 2 bundle branches, then to the Purkinje fibers that carry the contraction impulse through the muscles of the right and left ventricles, cause them to contract. So an electrocardiogram, or ECG, measures the electrical impulses coming from the heart, creating a chart of this output. So let's take a look at what it means. Each change on the ECG is given a letter that corresponds to a specific change in the heart. The P wave, the atria contracts. The QRS wave, the ventricles contract. And the T wave, the ventricles relax and reset. So you see that right there. That's a normal, that's that beep, beep that you see on medical shows when they have the heartbeat on a monitor. So the normal resting heart rate for people is between 60 and 100 beats per minute. The normal resting heart rate is between 60 and 100. All right, and we see right here, normal heartbeat. Brachycardia is the heart rate that is below 60 beats per minute. And tachycardia is a contraction of the ventricles or atria at a rate above 100 beats per minute. A heart attack is caused by a blockage of one of the coronary arteries, disrupting flow of oxygenated blood to the heart muscle. Okay, so that's a heart attack is actually the heart muscle itself not getting oxygenated blood. A coronary bypass transplanted vein from the other part of the body, usually a leg, into the heart, and the blood is rerouted around the blockage. An angioplasty, a narrow balloon is inserted in the blocked vessel, is then inflated, expanding the vessel. If the vessel does not stay on its own, a mesh-like stent can be inserted to hold it open. Blood carried from the heart to the rest of the body through a series of blood vessels. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Veins carry blood toward the heart. Capillaries connect arteries and veins and are the site where oxygen diffuses in or out of blood. Arteries have a smaller lumen but thicker wall of smooth muscle. This allows arteries to increase or decrease blood pressure in specific areas of the body when needed. Veins have a larger lumen but a thinner layer of elastic fibers. Very little pressure remains from the heart, so the thick walls aren't needed. A wide lumen reduces resistance to blood flow. So veins aren't going to have a lot of pressure in them because of the fact that it's already going through the capillaries. Valves are in place in veins to prevent backflow as blood flows upward. The contraction of skeletal muscles helps to push blood upward back towards the heart. Capillaries have the smallest lumen, often just large enough for blood cells to move through single file. The wall is made of a single layer of simple squamous cells and allows for rapid diffusion. Systemic circulation. Each time an artery or vein forms smaller branches, it's given a new name. And we see these different arteries throughout the body. And again, here we see veins throughout the body. Blood pressure. Blood pressure is a measurement of the pressures inside the large arteries of systemic circulation. Systolic pressure is peak pressure caused by contraction of the ventricles in the heart. Diastolic pressure is low pressure caused by the refilling ventricles in the heart. And normal blood pressure is 120 to 140 over 80 or 90. So that's the systolic is 120 to 140, diastolic is 80 to 90. Atherosclerosis is a buildup of lipids, calcium, or cell debris that gradually restricts blood flow. This causes higher blood pressure in that area of circulation. If a blockage occurs in a coronary artery, this causes a heart attack. An aneurysm is a weakening of a wall of a blood vessel. This causes the blood bulge outward and can lead to the vessel bursting, formation of a thrombus. Aneurysms are more likely in patients that have high blood pressure, atherosclerosis, or a history of smoking. Hemostasis is a stoppage of the bleeding from the break in the blood vessel. Stage 1, platelets begin attaching to the wall of a broken blood vessel, form a platelet plug. Stage 2, the platelets activate a plasma protein called thrombin, which in turn activates protein strands called fibrin, which stick to the plug. Stage 3, fibrin proteins cause red blood cells to stick to the clot, sealing the blood vessel until it heals. Blood clotting disorders. So we see hemophilia is a hereditary disorder that impairs the body's ability to control blood clotting. The platelet plug still forms, but fibrin does not, so the plug does not attach to anything. A thrombus is a blood clot that is in a vessel that is not broken. An embolus is a thrombus that breaks away, floats in the bloodstream, and clogs arteries farther away. A hematoma is a swelling of clotted blood within a tissue. The different colors of the bruise result from hemoglobin being gradually broken and reabsorbed. In a fetus, the lungs are non-functional and are bypassed by a hole caused to form an oval. Blood passes directly from the right atrium to the left atrium, and this closes at birth. The umbilical cord contains 3 major blood vessels. Umbilical vein transports oxygenated blood from the mother to the placenta, and 2 umbilical arteries transport deoxygenated blood back to the mother, and fetal hemoglobin has a much greater affinity for oxygen than maternal hemoglobin. So there'll be a third lecture in which we talk about the flow of blood through the heart to the body.